A very good evening, guys. Just a quick check on my microphone. Am I audible?
Good evening. Yes, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes and we'll wait others to join. And one more thing is, like, how many are there in this batch? Yes. How many are there in this batch? Is there anybody yet to join, or only 5 or 4 people in this batch?
No, there are more people. So I think
Okay,
they're
fine.
right. Yeah.
Okay, then we'll wait for a couple of minutes and then we'll start.
Sure.
All right, so let's begin. So hope you had a fruitful time with the placement team and their intervention. Hope all your questions were solved. And now we're going to see something about a very important topic, but it's a kind of an old topic about this resume building. I think by now everybody would have they have a resume right now in their hand, and still they are attending a lot of resume building sessions. So what I'm trying to do in this session is like I'm going to throw some limelights, something which is very different from the usual resume building session, right? So I'm not going to bug you up. I'm not going to bore you on the known things which you already know, but here and there I'm going to throw some extra light on how you can make your resume. That's what today's agenda is all about. All right, are you there, guys? Yes, no? Can I have some responses on the chat box? Fine. Thank you, Smita. Thank you, Bhupender, Subham, Himanshu. Thank you. Thank you all. So before getting into this resume building, I just want to know about your background. So can each one of you, can you just introduce yourself, and then we'll get into this resume building. Maybe we'll start from Bhupender.
Hi, Maninder.
Can you hear? Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
My name is Bhupender Kumar. I'm from Gurgaon. I did my BTech in mechanical engineering and my MTech in manufacturing automation. And I have total 7 year of experience, out of which 4 years as a lecturer and 3 years as a production in a automotive company. And currently I'm doing this PG program from Articus and hoping for to get into this industry. So that's all.
Okay, fine, good. Thank you, Bhupender. Thank you for your time. Yeah. Next, we'll move on to Himanshu.
Yeah, hello, Maninder. My name is Himanshu Agrawal. I'm from Dholpur, Rajasthan. I graduated from National Institute of Foundry and Forge Technology in Metallurgy and Materials Engineering. Then I had worked for 2 years in OCL Iron and Steel Limited, Bhiwadi. So where I was responsible for the production of metal castings. So I worked as an engineer and shift in charge. Then I left that company due to my illness, and currently I'm working in a BPO for 4 months. So total I have experience of 2 years, 4 months.
Okay, fine, good. Thank you, Himanshu.
Thank you.
Aditya. Is Aditya there?
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Aditya. Introduce yourself.
Sorry, sir. I don't know. What? I had to give my introduction.
Yeah, sure. Introduce yourself.
Okay. So I'm Aditya Duipade. I'm born and brought up in Mumbai, and I completed my graduation from Guru Nanak Khalsa College in 2019. And I stay here with my family, with my father. My father is a serviceman. My mother is a housewife. Yeah, that's it, sir. And
Okay, fine. Thank you. So we'll move on to Nikhil.
Yeah, hello. Hi, Mananda. This is Nikhil Sundane. I have done my graduation in PSCIT in Guru Nanak Khalsa College. I live in Mumbai, and I have an experience. I'm working with a medical EHR company from 2020 February. So as a software specialist, and I have joined this program for data science and artificial intelligence. That is it about me.
Okay, good. Saravanan?
Yeah, hi. As you know, my Sarunan, I've been working in TCS for the past 2 years. I wanted to be a data scientist for a few for the past. It's my aspiration to become a data scientist. So this is the time I have. This is the right time for me to join. So I have joined this course to become a data scientist. And I have been expert in AWS and business analytics field for the past 1 years, and I wanted to become full-fledged on data scientist part now.
Okay, good. Shubham?
Yeah, hello, sir. As you know, my name is Shubham Soni, and I am from basically Chhattisgarh. And I have done my graduation from Bhopal in computer science engineering. I was in the BTech, and I'm totally a fresher. I have partly graduated in 2020, so no industrially expert or anything. What do you say? And I'm a totally a fresher, like, and I have choose this program for basically a job seeking a person. That's it.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll move on to Smita.
Yeah, hi. I have worked as solution integrator and I have 5 years of experience in programming. I have worked on CRM projects on the domains of Java, Angular, JS, and ConceptWeb. And currently, I'm not working. I'm on a break, and I'm pursuing this course now.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Smita. Swati?
Yeah, hi, I'm Swati. I did my BTech in Electronics and Communication, and presently I'm working with WNS as a Senior Associate in Research and Analytics.
Okay, fine. So good. All of you are here. Most of you are experienced, and quite a few are freshers out here. So let me just introduce myself. My name is Maninder Melchizedek. I repeat, my name is Maninder Melchizedek. Maninder means lot of minds, and Melchizedek means peace. So basically, I'm an engineer and specialized in electronics and communication, and also done my majors in MBA and HR field. And coming back to my work experience, I started my career as a software engineer in Mindtree. Then moved a couple of companies like Nestle, worked as a merchandising officer at Nestle. Then moved into Achi Masala for training and development head. And quite a lot of companies like getting into content writer and also into freelancing stuffs. And I started off my own company called as iThinkers, went into schools, colleges, corporates, and also juvenile jails in understanding their personality and talking something about or grooming something about their personality. Because when I talk about personality development, it is a known old word. So most of us think that personality development is something like, you have to wear the blue color shirt and the black color pant, and you have to carry a resume, and you have to go well groomed. Yeah, that is one part of personality development, but it is not the entire part. When I talk about personality development, the word itself says something personal. So it is the inward character that you carry along with yourself that will count when you talk to people, or when you want to influence people. The impact that you create is something which depends on the inward character. So personality is something where you involve a lot of emotions, you involve a lot of pressure handling, you involve even a lot of how to handle stress, and how to react in difficult times, and how to cope up with some unfavorable situations. So that is what is all about personality. So when we talk about personality, there's a huge thing that we can cover up when it comes to personality, right? So that's a little background about myself. So getting into today's topic about this resume building, because most of you are 5 years experience, 8 years experience. So you must be having your resume, but let me ask you one question. Let me just begin with this question. What do you mean by this word called resume? or resume? What is the literal meaning of it? Can anybody say the literal meaning of this word called resume or resume? Because I believe everybody will be having your resume now. I'm just asking you the literal meaning of this word called resume. Anybody knows that? Or there's another word called as curriculum vitae. What do you mean by that, curriculum vitae? Because I believe that every word has a meaning. So what do you mean by that word called as curriculum vitae or resume? Any answers from your end? Yes, no on the chat box. If you know, put no. If you have any idea, any guesses, you can put it on the chat box. Yeah, please. I need some responses. Let's not waste any time. Yes, no. Okay, Bhupender says no. Nikhil says no. Nobody knows it, but all of you have your resume in your hand. Okay, I'll tell you. The word resume means, it is a French word which means summary, right? Which means summary. And another word called as curriculum vitae is a Latin word which means course of life, right? Which means course of life. Now, what is the difference between a resume and a curriculum vitae? Can anybody say? What is the difference between a resume and a curriculum vitae?
Resume is for freshers or CV is for experienced professionals.
Okay, almost you're there. Resume can go only for 1 or 2 pages, but curriculum vitae can go for longer pages, right? There was one time where I attended a job fair. I was the HR, and there was a person who handed over his curriculum vitae, and it was almost more than 10 pages. It was like a booklet, a mini booklet. So that is what we call it as a curriculum vitae, right? A detailed explanation about certifications, research, and over it is usually applied for some kind of an academic or a scientific or a medical jobs where you have more of details in it, right? But now the trend has changed. Now the trend has changed, and everybody is going out for a one-page resume. They're opting for a single-page resume. Even if you have 8+ years of experience or 15+ of years of experience, all of them are going for a single page resume, right? So today we are going to discuss something about the why, the what, and the how of the resumes. And there is a resume format that has to be followed here in Imaticus. So I will be sharing with you the resume format, right? PGA has a resume format, and you'll be having your resumes only in that format when you're submitting it to Imaticus. So there should not be any deviation from your resumes, right? So I'll be talking about the resume format and the types. And another important thing that I will be also sharing with you is what are the different types of resumes. You have to know the different types of resumes, because once you want to apply on your own, right, you need to have the other types of resumes also. So I'll be discussing about the different types of resumes and what are the essential components that should be there inside your resume to make your resume look good, or the weightage of your resume should go high. And also I'll be discussing some of the tips and what happens, or when you apply your resume on online, what really happens, and how does your resume gets filtered, and what is the job of the HR, and how does the HR filter your resume. So these are all some of the added limelights I'm going to throw it on you, right? So let's get into the business. So first of all, as I already told you, there is something called as tailored fit resume, right? Tailored fit resume. Now, what do you mean by this word called tailored fit? Any idea?
Default pattern available in online.
Sorry?
Default pattern available.
Different pattern available. Okay.
Default.
Anything else that comes to your mind? There is a point like tailor separate resume to fit each career field in which you are job searching. Now, what do you mean by that tailor separate? Any other idea or any other things that comes to your mind when I talk about this tailored fit? Yes, no? Okay.
Most
See,
relevant resume.
most relevant resume, good point, a very good point. Now, suppose if you're going for a wedding, right, you want to stitch your suit or you want to stitch your own dress. So what you do is you go to a tailor and he takes the measurement, exactly the same measurement, your waist, your hip, your shoulders, everything exactly the same measurement, and he stitches a suit which fits your body and there is no discomfort in that. That is one choice. The second choice is you go to a ready-made shop. There's already a stitched suit out there. You can take it and you can wear it. However, the suit is little comfortable for you, but it doesn't match the comfortness which is stitched by the tailor by using the exact measurements. All right. That is what we call it as tailored separate fit or tailored separate resumes. Now, what some candidates they do is, suppose if you are applying for a company, what they do is they go research the company. They know the nook and corner of the details of that particular company, what the company is all about, right? Who's this current CEO? What are the current projects that they have taken? What are their values? And what kind of a candidate that they are looking for? So they go and research the company. For example, when you take a company called as Mindtree, I'm just taking as an example for you. There are some 3 core values that Mindtree expects their candidates. For example, let me go to Mindtree. Right? I go to Mindtree. Now, this is how you have to do your research work. Now, let's go and see their values. There are 3 main values in Mindtree. One is collaborative spirit, right? Expert thinking. One is collaborative spirit. That is like teamwork. They believe in teamwork. They don't believe like if you are the only one who does the work and gets the applaud or recognition. They don't believe in that. They want you to work as a team. That is what we call it as collaborative spirit, right? And they believe in expert thinking. That is, you have to quick fix the problem as soon as possible. You have to quick fix it. You need not take much time, but you have to do it as soon as possible. That's called as quick fix. Anything. So you have to have expert thinking to fix the bugs or whatever the problems are. You should be a very good problem solver, in other words, right? That is called as expert thinking. And the third thing they're looking for is unrelented dedication, right? They believe in unrelented dedication. Now let's go and see some of the company overview and their values. Hope you can see the screen. Is my screen visible, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what they do is like, now look here. They go to the company and look here. The 3 values, what I said has been displayed here. They look for collaborative spirit. They believe in collaborative spirit. They believe in expert thinking, and they believe in unrelented dedication. These are the 3 core values of Mindtree. Suppose if you're applying to Mindtree. Now, can you say some of your dream companies? Can you say some of your dream companies?
Microsoft.
Okay. Anything else? Microsoft?
Amazon.
Amazon. Now, what do they believe? Do you know what do they believe? Do you know who's the CEO of Amazon or who's the CEO of Microsoft? And what are the current projects that have been taking place? And do you know what is the stock price of that particular company? Do you know where are the headquarters situated? Do you know the origin? How did Amazon or how did Microsoft, they came into existence? Do you know something about the company? Anybody knows something about the company? What values do they looking for? Are you aware of it? You need to be aware of all those things, right? So go through the company's website, whatever company you're applying through, right? Suppose if you're applying through, you're applying to Amazon or applying to Microsoft, go to that particular company, research the company. Maybe this will also help you during interviews. If not in your resume, this will also help you during the interviews. Now, can I ask you one question? The one who said Amazon and Microsoft. Do you know what are the CSR activities that are taking place in Amazon and Microsoft? Smita, do you know the CSR activities of Amazon? Yes, no?
No, I don't know.
Okay. The one who said Microsoft, do you know what are the CSR activities which is being taking part in Microsoft? Hope you know about CSR activities, right? What do you mean by CSR?
It's a
Corporate social responsibilities.
Exactly. So every company has a CSR activity, right? Every company has a CSR activity. So if you know all those things, that if you're also involved in such kind of an activity, for example, there are companies which support education, there are companies which support energy powers, there are companies which support various activities which help the society, right? So if you are also one among them who's involved in such kind of CSR activities, and the company is also involved in doing the same thing, then you can add that even in your resume. Or even when you talk about yourself, you can say about the CSR activity, because that is how you can build a rapport with the HR. Are you getting it? So this is what we call it as tailored fit, right? So once you go through the company's website, especially during the COVID time, just have a fair knowledge about what the company has contributed towards the society when it comes to COVID, right? During the COVID time. So all this will be an added advantage for you to be unique during interviews. Understand? So this is what we call it as a tailored fit or a customized resume according to the company, right? And another thing I wanted to say is like about your accomplishments. A resume should have a lot of accomplishments. What do you mean by accomplishments? It's nothing but achievements, right? Because always remember, everybody has a name, everybody has a place, everybody has education qualification. Everybody out here, you have done your course in IMATICUS. Now, what is going to make you different is your accomplishments. What is the difference between Neeraj and you? Who's Neeraj? Neeraj Chopra. Who's Neeraj Chopra? Yeah, nobody knows it.
gold medalist in Olympics.
Exactly. Now, what is the main difference between Neeraj Chopra, or how did he become famous? It's because of his achievements. If he has not achieved the gold medal, he's just a common man. But since he has achieved something, it talks more about him. It adds more flavor to its personality. So everybody out here will, you have your name, you have your place, you have your education qualification, right? You have done your course in IMATICUS, right? You have your hobbies, you have your strengths, you have your weakness, but what is going to make you unique from others is your accomplishments or is your achievements. Now, these achievements can be divided into two. One, it can be your academic achievements, and two, it can be your extracurricular activities, what you do, right? So when it comes to academics, it can be like, for example, most of you are engineers here. You can say something about your paper presentation, right? And you've won any special mentions, any awards or any accolades, like topping the subject, or even in IMATICS here, if you've won any competitions that they have conducted, and that is something which can make your profile look very unique, especially the competitions which are conducted in IMATICS during the post time, right? And something which is related to your academics, you can say that when it comes to your academic achievements. When it comes to your personal achievements, it's something where it's like extracurricular activities, where you can add something like when it comes to arts, when it comes to sports, when it comes to music, when it comes to uh, stage shows like mime, AdsApp, and just a minute, right? If you won any cash prizes, if you won any special accolades, something which is worthwhile. When you say it, it should be worthwhile. Don't say something which you got in your first standard or your second standard. If you have work experience, then any achievements that you got during your work experience, during your work time. Maybe you would have got the best employer of the year, or maybe you would have got an award for your regular attendance, or maybe you might have a titled award, like the one who's always been there when nobody is out there. So there are some awards which makes you feel very unique, right? So if you have work experience, any special mentions, any recognitions, or any cash awards, or any accolades which makes your personality to be unique, you can say that in your resume, because achievements is one thing which will make you look very unique. Always remember this. Achievement is something which will make you very, 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 very unique, right? So make sure that your resume is full of your achievements. Now, I love this picture. Can you look at the resume and the picture? Now, what comes to your mind when you look at this picture? Any thought that comes to your mind when you look at this picture? Yes, any thoughts that comes to your mind when you look at this picture?
Resume becomes our identity.
See, that's a good point. What Smita told is a very good point. Now, you cannot see the face of that particular candidate out there, but the resume is what you can see, because the first step of getting a job is your resume has to get shortlisted, right? It has to get shortlisted, and then only the further rounds, or whether it's going to be an aptitude round, or it's going to be a GD, or it's going to be a technical round, all that happens on the later half. But the first and the foremost step to get a job is your resume should get shortlisted. So your resume is one thing which wants to talk about you. You're not physically present there, right? But your resume is going to talk on behalf of you. So whatever you put inside the resume, you are responsible for it. Whatever word you put inside the resume, make sure that you are responsible for it, and you should be answerable for it. And whenever you prepare a resume, make sure that you show yourself as a potential employee and not as a mere employee. See, there are some resumes which lacks depth. It has nothing in it. No, it will be void. It will be just their education qualification, just a career objective, and that's it. and there is nothing impressive about themselves. So when you prepare a resume, it should be showing you as a potential employee, not as a mere employee. Always have this in your mind when you prepare your resume, right? Now, another important thing I want to ask you, how does your resume gets shortlisted? Any idea? How does your resume get shortlisted? Now, there are 20 vacancies in a company, right? Let us assume there are 20 vacancies in a company. And the HR is getting around 1,000 resumes. Now, how does the HR shortlist or screen the resume? Any idea?
By looking skill set.
Okay. Do you think the HR will have time to go through all the 1,000
Keyword
profiles?
search. Keyword search.
Exactly. Very good. You're coming a little close now. Keyword search. Now, how do they search this keyword? Now, first, actually, what do you mean by keyword?
As in, if they want anyone from the analytics department or analytics related work, so they will write it over there, like, analytics using the logical operators, or then they can mention anything else. Let's
Very
say
good.
machine learning or something like using the logical operators plus the keywords. So it will get highlighted.
Very good. You're coming to the point. Very good. Good one. See, usually when I say keywords, how many of you heard about this terminology called as SEO, search engine optimization? Anybody's heard about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, search engine optimization. Now, what do they do in the search engine optimization is, just I'll give you a brief introduction about that. Now, it is related to some digital marketing, but you have to know where does this keyword, the term keyword, came from. Because it is more emphasized on this digital marketing platform. Now, when you go and search for something on the net, being a data analyst, you might be knowing all these things, right? For example, during this COVID time, you wanted to know like which fruit has more vitamin C, right? So you wanted to get into some informations about fruits. So you go for fruits information, right? You go there, and there are many websites out here. There are many websites out here. Now, what you do is, will you go to the 100th or the 10th page and click the website which is down, like your Canadian nutrition facts or fruits vegetable? Will you do this?
No.
Yes or no?
No, sir.
No. Now, what will you do? You go to the first page, right? You don't even go to the second page. You go to the first page, you see something which is the first link out here, or even the second or the third or the fourth. That's it. You don't even shift the pages. You go there and you see about fruits information, right? And there are some informations about some fruits. So you go here and you Google up, and then you find up a lot of information about this fruits. My question is, what is making these sites to appear at the top list? What is making this site to appear at the top? And why other sites are not appearing in page number 1? What will be your answer?
One thing that companies paying more advertising and people are searching that website more. So
Okay, to put it in a nutshell, that is what we call it as search engine optimization. All right. So what they do is there is something called as organic and inorganic. Organic is doing it in a legal way. Inorganic is doing it in a illegal way. So what happens is it can make your site to appear at the top. And the main thing that is involved in making this particular site to appear at the top is nothing but using the app keywords. So when you work as a content writer for an SEO company, what they do is they give you keywords. So based on the keywords, there'll be some set of protocols. That is, this particular word should be repeated twice in 2 sentences or something like that. There'll be some protocols. So the content writer has to write a content according to the protocols so that when a user comes and searches on the Google platform out here, their site which has the exact keywords will appear at the top. So keywords and content plays a very major role in bringing this site up to the top. Are you getting it where the keywords are coming out from? Just a brief idea that I wanted to say, right? Now, coming back to our topic out here. So when you talk about keywords, what happens is, let me just show you. How does the HR filter your resume? They use something called as Boolean algorithm. Do you know about it? Boolean algorithm. Do you remember the Boolean algorithm?
Yes, sir.
Right. For example, there are 2 words here, recruitment and recruiting. Just remove these 2 words. And instead of recruitment, maybe add some skills. Maybe add leadership skills. Right. Leadership skills. And here you have data analytics skills. Or any keyword or any technical word that you have learned. For example, maybe like Python and SQL, right? Or R and Tableau, or Power BI and SQL, something like that. Okay, 2 skills. Just imagine 2 skills. For now, for a simple understanding, let me just take Python and SQL, or leadership skills and data analytics skills. Right now, these are the 2 things. Now, what happens is when the HR wants to filter your particular resume, they're looking for some keywords inside your resume, right? They're looking for some keywords inside your resume. Now, what happens is they want somebody to be good at Python as well as SQL, right? Now, they apply these Boolean algorithms. One is not, that is, I need somebody who's good at Python, or I need somebody who's good at SQL. I need somebody who's good at leadership skills. I need somebody who's good at negotiation skills. And I don't need somebody who is overqualified, who has more number of skills or more number of experience. For example, it can happen even as experienced as well as freshers. For example, if I want to take only the freshers, I take only the freshers. I don't want the experienced, right? Now, if I want only the experience, I go for only the experience and not the freshers. It also depends upon the skills, because there are some quite candidates who are overqualified, and for HR, they don't want to pick them up because their retention rate will be too less. They will not stay in the company for a long time. Right? So retention will be too less. So they don't want to pick candidates who have more experience or highly qualified. On the other hand, there are some HRs who pick up candidates who are having only experience and not freshers. So it depends upon the position, it depends upon the requirement, it depends upon the company, it depends upon the HR. Right? Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So this is what the not operator is. The next operator is or operator. No, this is something where it happens during bulk hiring. Usually in colleges, you can see TCS, CTS, Wipro, or any other companies, they come in and they hire in bulk because the requirement is more. They'll be like, whether you're good at SQL, whether you're good at Python, or whether you're good at leadership skills, whether you're good at communication skills, any skills or something or the other, you're good at something, we pick you up and we can give you the extensive training for 6 months and you can be inside our company. This is what we call it as bulk recruitment. So they use the or operator, right? And the other one is called as the and operator. That is only if you have both the skills. I take candidates only the ones who have communication skills as well as leadership skills. I don't want the one who can communicate well, but I also want the one who can take responsibilities. I don't want only the one who's good in handling database, SQL, the basics. Okay, fine. But I need somebody who's strong in Python. I don't need somebody who's only strong in Python, but I also want somebody who has fair knowledge in Power BI and Tableau. I need somebody who's good at statistics also. So it depends upon the HR and upon the requirements in the company. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So they are going to use this hand operator. So this is one way of your resume getting filtered because they have a tool. All the HRs will have a tool. And in that tool, they use this Boolean algorithms to filter your resumes according to the keywords that you have put inside your resume. Right? So what all you have studied, you have to put it in your resume, all the keywords. That's what we have a format here in Ematicus where what all you've studied, it comes at the top. I will show you that format. Don't worry. So this is one way of filtering your resumes. And another way is very simple. All of you know that. They go for recently updated resumes. Right? They go for recently updated resumes. So once they go for recently updated, there are people, what they do is they change their executive summary, they change their career objective, or they also remove a full stop out of it so that it appears in recently updated resume. So when you're applying it in Naukri or when you're applying it in Times Now, for example, the job opportunity is in the month of January, and you have applied your resume right now in the month of October. But what the HR does is the HR filters it, and there'll be an option in their tool. That is, the option is recently updated resume. So what happens is the ones who have recently updated, usually they update the resume weekly once. Weekly once you have to update your resume. So once the ones who update their resume weekly once, only their resumes get shortlisted, and others' resumes will not even be seen by the HR. All right. So it is a sign that you are active on the portal. Right? So you keep on updating your profiles, change, customize it, look the company, put in their values, matching your values, right? You have to keep on changing your resumes according to the company that you're applying it. So this is one such way, like how they filter your resumes. Understand? And any doubts till now? Anybody has any doubts till now? Any questions? Yes, no? Going good? Yeah. Can I have some responses on the chat box?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, go ahead, Swati.
So in case like if we were preparing for something and we have 2 years gap, let's say. So in that 2 years gap, like you kind of achieved what, as you mentioned in that achievement section, that you went till the interview stage and all. So what I want to ask, that in that 2 years gap which you had, is it would it be wise to mention that part or not?
Okay, what have you achieved in that 2 years?
So like I was in that case preparing for engineering services, and I went till the interview stage of that, which is a three stage examination. So I went till the interview stage, and after that, then I decided, okay, fine, whatever like best I could have given during the duration, I gave it. So I would pursue it. I would look for not a backup basically, but I would. Continue I would not continue that thing, but I would go ahead with something else which could boost up my career. So this is the thing, because why I'm asking you this is, let's say even if I mention it, so what if they start thinking that okay, she's so fickle minded, right?
Now, let me ask you a question. What is your ambition in life?
Sorry,
What is your ambition in life?
at this point I just want that the course, like whatever course I've taken. So for me, the ambition is actually, I don't take it on a long-term basis. I have short-term goals. So my nearest short-term goal is to get a good placement in the data science field, in the data analytics field, to put it precise, because I'm talking about the short-term goal.
Okay.
And long-term data science, definitely. So this is the ambition.
See, it is not a fault to say what you've prepared so far in those 2 years gap, right? But use the right terminology. For example, the terminology called as lateral thinking. What do you mean by lateral thinking? Lateral thinking is nothing but you dig the gold here, you don't find the gold. So what you do, you dig somewhere else. That is what we call it as lateral thinking. Linear thinking is you dig the gold until you find the gold. Right. So what you can say is like, yeah, I've been preparing for those exams, no engineering service exams and all, but it is a competitive exam, and as all of us know that
there is no certainty.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty in that. But I use my lateral thinking to change my stream into this data analytics. And also you have to say, why did you pick up this data analytics? What is so fascinating about this data analytics? And you can also say the learning curve that you had in imaticus. So it's like you can say like the reason being why I have taken this data analytics course is because everybody knows the quote, like data is going to be the boom. Data is costlier than oil, and the future is all about data. And it is not only that, but when I came here to imaticus, there was so much of knowledge that I had in this particular course. There was so much of concepts that I've learned. I learned about logical regression. I learned about various tools about SQL, Tableau, Python, and all those things. Don't highlight the tools because everybody can say the tools, but highlight the concepts, what you have learned, as well as the projects that you have done.
Okay,
because these are the two important things that you can say, which is what the HR is looking out for.
So in that case, like, shall I, like, if she asks me, if the HR asks me, then I shall, highlight it, or shall I put it in the resume?
No, you can. There's no need to put it in the resume. No need to put it in the resume.
Exactly.
Suppose if the HR is asking you, why there's a gap in this 2 years, then you can explain it in your words. There's no need for you to put it in the resume.
Exactly. That's what, because till now nothing of this sort actually happened with me. So that's it. But then I thought that okay, is it wise enough to put it into on the resume, or if she asks, then so it's a different thing. You can explain it.
Yeah, you can explain it, because always remember you have to give what the fish is looking out for. For example, I'm telling you, I'm good at C, C++, Java, .NET, right? I'm good at that. But if I put that in my resume and I'm going for a data analytics job, what is the HR going to gain out of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So this is what we call it as throw what the fish is looking out for.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, got it.
So As I already said, there is no such thing called as a perfect CV, because everybody has walked their own path of life. And there is no such thing called as the perfect CV, but always remember, it is a kind of a selling tool. You are selling your skills and you're taking a job. So whatever you put inside the resume, you should be responsible for it, right? Now, my next question is, how much time does a HR requires to read your resume? How much time does an HR requires to read your resume? Any answers?
You're asking about skills or the points where you put it into the
You now, for example,
project.
you hand over the resume to the HR. How much time does the HR take to read your resume?
My experience, they just have to have a look at the skills we applied for, the skills, and mostly they ask about the skills. If it's SQL, if they require any PySpark knowledge, they just PySpark and AWS. That's it. It is not relevant to what they're looking
Yeah,
for.
just give me some, how many minutes or seconds? Or
A minute max.
a minute. Any other answers? The HR takes less than a minute to read your resumes or to look into your resumes, or they just skim through. We call that as skimming. Now, there are people who say like the HR takes 2 minutes time. Now, imagine if it is 2 minute time, if there are 50 resumes, it's 100 minutes. That is more than an hour. Do you think the HR doesn't have any other job just to spend reading the resumes for 1.5 hours? It's not the way. So they just skim through. It's less than a minute. They spend only 20 to 60 seconds or 20 to 30 seconds to see your resume. So your presentation, your layout, all that matters the most when it comes to resume. I think very important. Your layout and your presentation plays a very, very major role. Now, quickly we get into the different types of resumes, and I'll tell you why are they getting into these kinds of resumes. The first type is what we call it as chronological or the traditional resume. What do you mean by this chronological or this traditional resume? Any idea?
Which is built in Word document. Manually from scratch.
Which is built in Word document, okay. What do you mean by the word called traditional or chronological? Any other idea? What do you mean by the word called chronological?
In sequence,
Very
time
good.
period wise.
Perfect. That's the perfect answer. It is in sequence. Now you can see just a resume. I don't know whether I can use the pen out here, but there's no option out here. Just a second. Okay, no problem. So you can see there. You can see here. It starts with the chronological. That is, everything should be in order, right? Everything should be in order. Can you see my mouse pointer? Is my mouse pointer visible to you guys?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So here you see here everything goes in order. So your current working company should come at the top, then your previous working company should go behind, and then your first company, it comes out here, and even your education, everything should be in order. It should be sequential or it should be chronological. That's what we call it as chronological. It should be in order, time based. right? So this is something where we call it as traditional resumes. There might be resumes like the ones who start off by saying resume at the top, and then you have a career objective, and then you have an education qualification, and the education qualification will be in the tabular box, and then you have your certifications, your projects, your academic projects, and then about your work experience. So everything should be in order. That is what we call it as chronological or traditional resumes. Now, there is a shift from traditional resumes to functional or skill-based resume. Why? Now, what is the need and necessity for functional and skill-based resume to come into existence? Any idea?
Sir, I have doubt. It's not regarding it. Can you please go back to the resume once again?
You mean the traditional part?
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's just a sample.
Yeah, yes, sir. I have one similar doubt.
Yeah.
You said it has to be having the previous current company, previous and the first company like that in the order.
Yeah.
So what if you're working in the same company for two different projects in a span of time? So should we address it as a single company or address it as a dual project, dual companies like that?
No, if you have handled two different projects in the same company, then you can highlight it, and also treat every promotion, right? You have to mention also the promotions in your resumes. Are you getting it? Maybe.
Yes, but as my question is, I have worked in two projects, so I had this doubt for a long time. Should I address it as two different projects? Because
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I thought of addressing it as the current project is as the first one, and the later one is the second one. So I have been raised to some questions like, well, you have less than 2 years of experience, and how can you go into two projects like that? I have to explain. I have to give some time to explain them that whether if they get back to me, I have to explain them that I worked in the same company for two different projects. So what if my resume get rejected in the selection process itself? Like he's worked in two projects less than 2 years, like that.
No, there is. I think your resume doesn't get rejected just because of that. Maybe I'll show you one resume. It's like not your pattern, but just for your understanding. Let me show you that. You worked in TCS, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now look here. The same candidate has worked in TCS, but he has mentioned two projects, the roles and responsibility of projects like this. Are you getting it?
Yeah, okay. I get it now.
So you can do this.
Okay.
Now I think this is much clearer for you.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Fine.
Yeah. So we have to attend it in a single company, but as two different projects, we have to specifically mention.
Exactly. Right? So you can mention that. It's not a big deal. All right. Now, why they have to go from chronological to traditional resume? What is the need? I mean, chronological, traditional to functional or skill-based? I want you to think now. I want you to think, what is the major reason for somebody to change their chronological or traditional resume to functional or skill-based resume?
It maybe shows our skills. More
But
skills
why?
than
Why? What is the reason for it? Think, I want you to think.
Maybe changing the domain or changing the area of expertise.
You're coming very close.
Changing careers.
Just a little bit of thinking. Maybe I'll just show you an example. No, see here, the highlight is more on the skills. The highlight is more on the skills. So the major part of your resume, it's fully about your skills. Why do they do that? Why do they highlight more about the skills?
Expecting a breakthrough.
Okay. See, usually people having gaps, they go for this skill-based resume or this functional resume because they want to highlight more on their skills rather than concentrating on their gaps. So whatever skills that they have, they say like, I'm having so much of skills, hire me for my skills. Why are you much bothered about my gaps? So I put my skills or I highlight my skills more than putting it in order. So that is the reason why they go for this functional or skill-based resume. Getting it? That's why they go for this functional or skill-based resume. Now, another type is called as hybrid or combinational resume. That is nothing but it's both. It is an order and they can highlight the skills. I'll just show it to you, just an example. And then we'll move into the important part. The hybrid is nothing but the combination of chronological as well as the functional. So they have their skills as well as they have their work experience or education qualification. Everything will be in order. So here comes your combinational resume. So you can see the skill set is there as well as your work experience and everything will be in order. This is what we call it as a combinational resume. Now, all these three resumes are outdated. All these three resumes are outdated because there is another resume called as creative resumes. Now, creative resume is the hot topic. How many of you have a creative resume now? How many of you already have a creative resume? Yes, no? How many of you have a creative resume? Okay, I'll just show you the template. Don't worry about the content in it. I'll just show you. This is what we call it as a creative resume. It fits in a single page. Okay, just have a look at it. The name, the designation, and something about a line or one line or two liner about himself and about the phone number and your mail ID, right? And your education qualification, your PG, your UG, your work experience, that is your current work experience, your previous work experience. And here you can see a lot of power slaps. There is no sentence here, right? There is no sentence here, but whatever you put inside the resume is understood. Even your hobbies, you don't need to read all these things. You just see the icons. He's interested in music. He's a person who loves to travel, right? He's a coffee person and he loves photography. Hobbies and interests. So you don't even need to read it, but if you see the icons, you can understand what he has mentioned there. This is something called as creative resumes. Something out of the box, something which is very creative. I'll show you another resume which is very, very creative, and I don't want you to take that as a role model or an example, but just to show you how creative people are because of their designations. Now look at this. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now look here, you can see more of icons, even the photo is in a cartonic format. And when you see the learning experience, he has put the learning experience in the form of a timeline. Right? He has put it in a timeline rather than putting it in a tabular column or putting it in the usual way. He has put it in a timeline. This is something which is very creative. Now, when you look at the other skills and interest, there are no sentences, but there are a lot of icons. Now, what is the disadvantage of this creative resume?
It won't be going through the filtering mechanism.
Exactly. Very good. So it doesn't get into the filtering mechanism, right? And there are some traditional HRs, when I call about traditional HRs, about 40, 50 plus, they don't like these kinds of resumes, right? They are not for these kinds of resumes. They don't tolerate these kinds of resumes. So now what can we do is, we have to do a creative resume and it should look also little professional. So there is a website called as Canva. How many of you heard about it?
I have used it for my first interview as a suggestion.
So when you get into this Canva here, I think you can get into resume and you can find a lot of resume templates, right? These are all some of the resume templates. Now there are people, what they do is they match the company logo also. For example, see, this is a color of Mindtree, right? Which you have just seen. So they use even the company logo to make, the company color to make their resume. All right. So here you go there are so much of templates out here, which is not that flashy, right? And it also seems to be a little professional. If you want to find a template, you can find a lot of templates out here in this Canva. We call it as Canva. And another one, what we call it as Novo. Have you heard about this Novo resume?
It's paid, right?
Novo is, yeah, Novo is little paid, I guess. But here, when you look at this Novo, you can see the skills are mentioned at the top. That is the keywords. They don't want to miss the keywords, so they put it under the topic called as skills, and they put all the keywords at the top. I think you have to pay around $1 or $0.5, something like that. I don't know, because when you are doing it for the first time, I think there are some trial versions also.
It's a package, I believe. And there
Okay.
is a trial package for this many months.
Okay. So you can try, then you can try Canva, or if you want to try, you can try Novo. Or suppose if you want to do your own template, you can do it using PowerPoint. Have you seen this? Can you hear?
First, we need to change your
Is it
slide
audible now?
size. Go to design, then slide size. Click on
Yes.
custom slide size. And from here, select the A4 paper. Click these options in portrait mode. Then just press OK. Now go to home and pick a rectangular shape. Then just drag it over here like this. Now resize it a bit, go to format, click on shape fill and change the color. Then go to shape outline, make no outline. Now go to insert, click on picture, and from here I'm just taking this picture. Then click on crop, go to shape to crop and select this oval shape. Again go to crop, go to aspect ratio and select 1:1. Now place the picture in the middle of the circle and click over this crop option.
Okay. See, this process is little tedious, but you can develop your own template however you want. You don't want to keep it very traditionally, then you can keep it very functionally also, or you can combine it, or you can make it creative as well as look at, you can make it look professional. But this is your own template. You can create your own template too. But this process is little tedious. You have to spend a little time on it. All right. So the fourth type of resume is what we call it as the creative resumes. And there are many companies looking out for creative resumes also. So when you're not applying it through iMarticus, then you can make a creative resume, have a standby, right? And you can also apply it even through online, a single page resume. So that is one type of a resume. And the last type of the resume is, we call it as video resume. How many of you are aware that even Naukri is accepting video resume? Are you aware of it?
It's an optional.
Yes, but that's what they are slowly bringing up this concept called as video resume. Are you aware of it? It's optional, but are you aware of it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the last type of resume is what we call it as video resume. Okay. Now let me just show you an example of it.
I am Rishikesh, an aspiring data scientist. I am currently a participant of the postgraduate program Business Analytics and Big Data at the Aegis School of Business in Mumbai. Before that, I completed my graduation in mathematics from the Indian Statistical Institute, Bangalore Center. Along with having majored in mathematics, I have also studied 5 major courses in statistics and 3 in probability theory. As a part of my program in Aegis, I have been thoroughly exposed to various tools, techniques, and concepts in the big data and data science environment. For example, I have learned how to program in R and Python. I have learned several conceptual topics like machine learning, information retrieval, natural language processing, data visualization, etc. I have also been exposed to usage of different big data technologies like Apache Hadoop, MapReduce, Apache Spark, IBM Postgres Big Insight, etc. Apart from my curriculum, I have participated and carried out various live projects at Aegis. For example, the first project that I carried out was titled Driver Telematics for Auto Insurance. The basic idea behind this project was to create driver profiles based on attributes that we drew from GPS coordinates of several drivers. We then used these profiles to determine risk scores, which were then in turn used for the determination of insurance premium amounts. My second project was to build a simple and small search engine using Lucene and Elasticsearch. My third project was about stock market analysis. We extracted data for several companies from the National Stock Exchange. We analyzed this data to study the uptrends, downtrends, fluctuations in the stock prices of these companies. My fourth and last project, which is still ongoing, is based on customer churn analysis. We are carrying out this project for one of the most largest telecom giants in India. The idea behind this project is to determine the rate and the reasons behind customer churn. And after that, we will try to come up with prescriptive strategies to avoid customer churn. In the near future, I also plan on undertaking a project in image processing. Based on my wide skill set and the hands-on experience that I have gathered from this project, I look forward to an adventurous journey in the data science. Thank you.
Hope you have seen a video resume, but the disadvantage of this video resume that you have seen is like it is exceeding more than 2 minutes. So whenever you do your video resume, always stick to 60 seconds or at most 90 seconds. That's the perfect ideal one. Or if you want to talk more, maybe you can extend to a little bit to maybe 2 minutes, but I'd rather say like 60 seconds or 90 seconds will be the more ideal. So now most of them are into this video resumes. When you're, especially when you're going through online platforms, Naukri and things like that. So make sure that you have a video resume. All right. Are you there with me, guys? Yes, no?
Yes,
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We'll go a little quick now. So these are the 7 things that can be seen inside your resume: your personal information, your executive summary, your education qualification, your work experience. If you don't have work experience, your internship or academic projects. So when I say about academic projects, you can mention the projects that you have done here in IMARTICUS. That's something very important, right? And any additional course or any additional certification that you have done related to data analytics can be an added advantage. For example, any online courses that you have done in Udemy regarding this data analytics course, or any extra additional hours that you have spent on SQL or Power BI or Tableau or R or Python or anything, that can be even more something like a weighted added advantage to it. And achievements is something very important. As I already told you, it's going to make you unique from others. So whatever you have achieved, you can put that in your resume. And finally, your extracurricular activities, what you do in your meantime. Right. Now let's look at one by one. And personal information is something which is very easy. You can put it, but when you put your email ID, be very careful. Don't put any funky or freaky email IDs like what you see on the screen. Don't put something like meet you at gmail.com, see you in heaven at yahoo.com. Don't put such a kind of a mail IDs, right? Keep it very professional. And don't put like P373 numbers, rocking dude, and all those things. It reflects your personality. So these are all self-explanatory. I'm not going to talk much about it because most of your experience out there, right? So photos, use a professional photo. Don't use your Facebook photos. If you're doing a creative resume, don't use creative photos or your Insta photos. Use something which is very professional. That is more than enough. So when you're writing your executive summary and your career objective, we call it as executive summary. There are 3 ways of writing your executive summary, right? The first one is, some of them start with a gerund. What do you mean by gerund? What do you mean by gerund? Gerund is nothing but verb plus ing. For example, we call it as seeking. Or the second way is like they begin with infinitive verbs. What do you mean by infinitive verb?
Two plus verb ing.
Sorry?
Like 2 plus verb and ing.
Exactly. Infinitive is nothing but to plus the verb, right? And the third part is using some powerful words or powerful adjective. These are the three ways to start up your executive summary. For example, let me just show you some executive summaries just for your example.
What about there are already provided online summaries or the summary it will be giving with our the automatic AI generated software spec. What about that one?
Okay, you can use that, but let me just say something. No, like when you are having your executive summary, right? Your executive summary can reflect 3 of your domain skills and maybe 2 of your personality or your soft skills. 3 of your domain skills and 2 of your soft skills when you're writing your executive summary. Now, I just told you your executive summary should reflect your skills and the vision for your career. Okay, so you can have that, but even no, you can blend your executive summaries. For example, just have a look at these executive summaries. Now they are starting it off with some powerful words like well organized and talented, flexible data analyst, result oriented, right? These are all some of the power words that you can see. Proactive, highly experienced when you have experience, enthusiastic, preemptive, right? All these are powerful words, result oriented again. So just have a look at these executive summaries, and you can use your skills, your domain knowledge. You can also mention your domain knowledge, and also you can mention some of your soft skills depending upon the JD. For example, if the JD says like I need somebody who's good at SQL and Python, maybe you can mention the concepts in Python, 2 or 3 concepts in Python which you are strong at, those words. And even in SQL, right, the word SQL can appear in your executive summary. And also 2 or 3 of your soft skills like time management, negotiation skills, presentation skills can also come in your executive summary. Now, if you feel like it's very difficult for me to write an executive summary, then take 2 or 3 executive summaries and blend it into one which matches your profile and your skills. Are you getting what I'm trying to say, guys? Just have a look at this. You'll have a fair idea about it. Right? So there are many out here. You can just have a look at that. Or if you want to write on your own, you can write on your own. For example, if you're most of your experience, right? If you're a fresher, you can start with like you're a fresher. If you're experienced, you can start with like experienced. Or if you are a fresher, you can start like an aspiring data analyst, professional with a certificate in PGA, right? From Marcus Learning. Then if you've done your MBA also, you can say like an MBA graduate, right? An MBA grad specializing in whatever domain you're specialized in. If you have specialized in finance, you can put it as finance and operations, or if it is in HR, you can put it as HR, right? Graduated. Now for, I'm just matching both no work experience for freshers also. I'm just concentrating more on freshers. You know, if you've graduated in 2021, then possesses knowledge related to, what are the concepts that you have learned? Can you mention some of the concepts that you have learned? Now look at the JD, right? Put your domain skills one. Any concepts that you have learned? Do you remember any concepts? Right? Put 3 or 2 of your domain skills, right? And look at the JD. If they're asking for any particular skills, you can put that skills out here. And also you can put like additionally skilled in leadership. Then maybe you can put like problem solving. And decision making. All right. So you can finish off by looking forward. Right. So this you can write it on your own also. You can keep it very simple also. That doesn't mean that you need to complicate it. Now there are some who write like a natural leader who has proven well and has thrived under pressure. Now that's a good catchy word that they can put for pressure handling, right? So what I'll do is like I will share with you a PDF. Maybe I'll show you that PDF also. Now it has a lot of power phrases and some words, powerful words. Is my screen visible, guys? Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Right. So I will share this PDF also with you. Here you can see a lot of phrases, as well as you can see a lot of words that can be used inside the resume. So make use of these adjectives or verbs and the phrases that can be used inside your resume. All right. Now coming to the important one about your PGA resume format. Just a second. Now this is how your PGA resume format looks. They want you to follow the same pattern, right? Don't make any deviation. Follow the same font and the font size. And the main reason for making this resume is highlighting all the keywords here at the top, right? So please make a resume exactly of this format. Don't change or don't deviate these templates. It's the template they have given. Just follow the same one. So here you can see like you have studied data interpretation and analysis, fundamental of statistics, predictive modeling, linear regression, logistic regression, support vector machines, decision trees, big data techniques, right? And SQL, R, SAS, Python, Excel, visualization tool, Tableau, all that is what you have learned during the 6 or 7 months of your course. So it just comes at the top and you're not missing any keywords out here. So put this at the top, right? After writing your summary, you can put this at the top and then followed by your educational qualification. That is, if you've done your PG, you can put your PG. If not, you can put your UG corresponding to the time period out here, then your college name, your degree, your specialization, and your marks, right? And where you have done that. Similarly, your 12th standard, your schooling, your 10th standard, and your schooling. Then comes your work experience. So when it comes to work experience, just put the total number of work experience, your time period, the name of the company, your designation, and roles and responsibilities, followed by your achievements. If you have work experience and you have achieved something in work experience, then your previous company, the same follows, a time period, right? The name of the company, your designation, and 5 roles and responsibilities is more than enough. And then your achievements, all right? And then your personal interest, and that's it. In the footer, you have your address. This is what your resume should look like. Now there will be a question for you. You can ask like, sir, I don't have any work experience. So does my resume look very wide? So for questions like that, what we have done is we wanted you also to include your projects. Let me just show you. So for the ones who are freshers, what you can do is you can mention your projects. And even the work experience can also mention your projects. So your projects, what tools did you use? What is the overall objective? What are the activities? And your project link. Right? You can use your projects. Now, how many projects did you do?
Around 20.
Sorry?
Around 10 plus projects.
Yeah, so you have done around 10 plus projects, right? So depending upon the company, depending upon their requirement, for example, if the company is looking out for the ones who are good at Python, then mention your Python projects.
But
right?
all our projects in Python only.
Okay, then no problem. Then you can use the project, and also remember be very, very clear in your explanation when you talk about your projects, because most of the questions are asked from your projects. How did you do that project? And what is the outcome of it? Who are the target audience? And what are the concepts that you used in this particular project? Now, suppose if I want to do the same project in R rather than in Python, how do you do it? What are the changes that you make? So make sure that you know the nook and corner of the projects, even if you have done in Python. Now, suppose if they ask this question, like if you do it in R, what are the changes that you can make? You should be ready to say that. Understand? So your projects, yeah, it makes a lot of difference, whatever projects that you do, and you are making the HR to ask the questions on the projects that you have done. So make sure that you do justice for it when you're explaining it.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
in that template which you were just showing us,
Mhm.
that Marticus stuff, which mentioned a plenty of things, and we haven't done so many things here. We have just done Python and we have done machine learning, and which is actually a part of Python itself and deep learning. We
Mhm.
haven't done Tableau and all
Mhm.
that thing. So
Okay.
even if we
So
write it, let's assume that even if we write it,
Mhm.
so in that case, like by obviously by the keyword search, definitely the resume will get shortlisted. Then
Mhm.
what next? Because we don't have that skill set
No, no,
articulate.
no, no, no. Always remember, if you have never learned that particular skill set, don't mention it inside your resume, right? Because that's going to be a blunder. If you don't know that, please don't mention that inside your resume. What have you learned so far? Please do mention only that particular learning in your resume, right? And maybe have a word with the placement officer when they are sending you for the interviews. Ask them like, should I mention this? Should I mention that? Now, is this course, does this course teach you Tableau?
So
No, it does not.
It does not, right? Okay. So if that course doesn't teach you Tableau, remove Tableau.
No Tableau, no SQL.
No SQL, then remove that, right? If the course doesn't teach you Tableau or SQL, then you can remove that.
So in the
what if
project
we
section, so in the project section also, like because over there the tools have been mentioned, right? So we
Mhm.
have the tools as Python only,
Okay.
Python and machine learning, Python and deep learning at max. So in that, so we have all the projects, like as he mentioned that we have 10 projects or so under this thing. So shall we mention them all together, or shall we mention them, separately in that case?
No, like when you're mentioning the projects, um, you can do it separately. I think that will be good and very clear also when you're mentioning it very separately rather than clubbing up together,
Okay.
right? So this is what your resume is all about. So what I'll do now is like, can you put all your mail ID on the chat box so that I can send you this template, and maybe you can also have a word with the placement team also, when you are sending your resume, any changes or anything that can be made with the template, because you have not learned this Tableau and things like that. So maybe have a word with them, and then accordingly you can prepare your resume and send it across.
Yeah, exactly. Because like till now we haven't had a placement session, no placement
Mhm.
intervention session, because
Today you had one, right, from 3 o'clock?
yeah, we were supposed to have it, but then it got postponed. So that's
Oh,
why like probably this could be the reason.
okay, maybe. Okay, fine. Then what I'll do is like, just mail you what all we have learned. Just give me a moment. Okay, just check now whether you have received it. Just keep this as a base, right? And maybe you can work on this and also have a creative resume also from your side. So that if you're applying it out of Marticus, then you can apply that. Any other doubts that you want to ask, guys? Go ahead. Okay, fine. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. Hope it was a clear explanation about resume building, and I believe that I've thrown some extra limelights which will be useful for you to get your resume get shortlisted even through online. All right. So hope you build a good resume, and I wish nothing but the best for you. Hope that you all get placed and get a good job, and whatever you do in your life, talent and skill can take you up to the top, but it is your character that can make you stay there. So don't lose that character. Build in more about your personality, and I hope nothing but the best for you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Sir, one quick doubt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. For applying the job opportunities from Immaticus, we should only use that specific template, not any template, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes.
That's all.
Okay, fine. Thank you, guys. Thank you, and all have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you.